We'll see if there are any fireworks right from the get-go with Cale Kessie, Michael Pezzetta, Marshall Rafai all on the ice to begin the afternoon. T-Birds in their road blue uniforms once again. They'll be attacking from right to left in this opening period. The Marlies in their home whites with the Maple Leaf crown crest. They'll move from left to right. Dean and Mark Johnstone on the initial faceoff, and right away Kessie makes a beeline right to Rafai. So it was very clear what Steve Ott and Cale Kessie's message was right away. As Rafai leaps to try to get into a scrap, Kessie with a couple of right hands over the top. Kessie keeps firing with uppercuts. Rafai trying to hang in there. He hasn't gotten one off yet. Kessie fires again, gets a couple more rights and takes Rafai straight down. Cale Kessie was not in the lineup back in January when Marshall Rafai gutlessly fired extra punches at Robertsson when he was down on the ice. Simon Robertsson hasn't played since, and Steve Ott put Cale Kessie in this starting lineup. I had a feeling there was a reason. I'll give credit to John Gruden too. He could have easily chose not to throw Rafai out there to start the afternoon, but he did. You tell Rafai wasn't overly thrilled to have to drop the mitts with Kessie, but Cale made a direct line straight at Marshall Rafai as soon as the puck was dropped. And so 4 seconds into the game, hopefully that matter is now put to bed. Now Peterson was having some words with Henry Thrun before this face-off in the neutral zone. Rafai, one Harvard Crimson alum that already dropped the mitts. Peterson, of course, tangled against Thrun back in their collegiate days, and they are gonna go. Peterson went right after Henry Thrun, and now they're firing away deep in the Toronto zone. Saturday night fights up here north of the border as Peterson gets a couple of right hands in. Finally, Thrun was able to get back with a right of his own. Peterson keeps firing. Thrun finally able to wrestle his arm loose, but Peterson keeps firing. Thrun gets a couple of right hands in, but Peterson still hanging in there. Oh, we got a good uppercut in on Thrun that time. And now the linesmen jump in to intercept. Well, the Kessie-Rafai scrap I had a feeling might materialize. The Peterson-Thrun scrap, a bonus. As Petey and Kessie in the sin bin give each other a couple of fist bumps as Peterson looked directly back at his bench as if to say, let's get going, boys. And you know the T-Birds are sick and tired of the way this week is gone. So Kessie and Peterson sending a very clear message, not just to the Toronto bench, but maybe to their own bench even more so. 10 seconds in, and this is shades of the US-Canada Four Nations matchup a year ago. There were 3 fights in the first 10 seconds of that game. I'm not sure we're going to get a third one. Wagner out there with Dubé and Koskamaki, Burns and Skinner. We know Burns and Skinner wouldn't be afraid to drop the mitts. And Michael Pezzetta is on the ice for Toronto. Well, we have around 3. We shall wait and see. Johnstone and Wagner on the neutral zone face-off. Tell you what, for two teams that play each other twice every 2 years, this feels a lot more like a rivalry. And there is another scrap as jumping Wagner in the neutral zone was Pezzetta. Blake Smith in there as well, and this is devolving into total nonsense now. Blake Smith jumped Wagner. Wagner didn't even have a chance to get his gloves off, and the T-Birds were quick to jump to their alternate captain's defense. And I'll tell you what, Mitchell Hardy and Jarrett Burton might not have a choice, but they might have to start throwing 10s and game misconducts out there, or this is going to get totally out of control. 15 seconds in, and I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in the T-Birds' history. There's been some bad blood in division games, but never 3 fights in the first quarter minute like this. So in case there was any doubt that the Simon Robertsson, Marshall Rafai situation a couple of weeks ago In case you thought that might have faded into the background, no, it has not. And if you think about the way Steve Ott played, now Pezzetta's over at the T-Bird bench yapping at Steve Ott and some of the T-Bird players. The linesman just now noticed that. Remarkable restraint from the T-Birds. It would have been real easy for the T-Birds to come unglued and have a conversation. Now Reese Johnson's trying to poke his nose in on the T-Bird bench as well. And again, let's not sugarcoat anything here. This is all the result of what Marshall Rafai did a couple of weeks ago in Springfield. His antics in that game are the entire reason any of this is happening. And he's running the risk of getting his own teammates injured, and he's running the risk of this turning into, frankly, something that does not mirror a hockey game right now. I couldn't even tell you who's had the puck in the first 15 seconds of this game. But the officials are coming together now, and I think the conversation here between Jarrett Burton and Mitchell Hardy, who, when they were assigned to this game, they hopefully were briefed by the league on what had occurred in the last meeting, because this is, I just had a feeling when I saw Kessie and Rafai both in the starting lineup, I just had a feeling we were going to get something right from the onset, and they're still trying to sort everything out. It's so strange that after both teams stood and sat through a very moving Canadian Armed Forces ceremony before the game, they had 10 minutes to just try to get the jitters out of their system. And now they're telling both teams to go back to their benches. Players were just coming off the bench just to try to stay loose. They were just going for laps in their own zone, not near one another. But the officials very aware that this is a powder keg that you can make the case has already burst, but I have a feeling that it may not be totally done yet. So Kessie, Peterson, and I believe Quentin Burns, or no, Hunter Skinner, are all in the box for the T-Birds. Rafai is in the Toronto sin bin. He just got 5 for fighting right off the get-go of this game. Blake Smith, who jumped Wagner completely unprovoked on the latest face-off, has gone down the tunnel to the Toronto dressing room. I think Smith's night might be done already. So Kessie and Rafai each got 5 for fighting. Peterson and Thrun each got 5 for fighting. Thrun went down the tunnel. He needed repairs. Chris Wagner and Toronto captain Logan Shaw are now trying to get the understanding of the situation from Jarrett Burton and Mitchell Hardy. So we're waiting to see what the breakdown here is going to be if the T-Birds are going to get a power play. Well, the T-Birds entered this game averaging barely over 10 minutes in penalties per game. They've eclipsed that in 15 seconds. William Villeneuve is now going over to the Toronto penalty box. I think just having a word with Rafai on the situation.
5 minutes each for fighting. Time of penalties, 4 seconds. The Thunderbirds, Kessie, and the Marlies for 5 each for fighting at 4 seconds. Springfield penalty, the number 22, Dylan Peterson. And Toronto penalty, the number 3, Henry Thrun. Also 5 minutes each for fighting. Time of those penalties, 10 seconds. And the Thunderbirds, Peterson, the Marlies, Thrun. 5 each for fighting at 10 seconds. Springfield penalty to number 5, Hunter Skinner, 2 minutes for roughing. Toronto penalty, number 59, Blake Smith, 5 minutes for fighting and a game misconduct. Time of those penalties.
So it was a 5 in a game for Blake Smith, and the T-Birds, as a result, after 2 minutes of 4-on-4, are going to have a 5-on-4 3-minute power play. And since it's off a major penalty, they will have the ability to score as much as they would like.